Whether you're in it for the music, the bopping beats, or the genre's trance-like flow, rhythm games make you feel something pretty unique. Often requiring specialized input devices like dance mats and instrument controllers, they also set themselves apart from most other genres. With an absolute boom in the mainstream appeal of the genre back in the years prior to 2008, 2009 saw an almost 50% drop in overall revenue for music and rhythm game publishers, forcing many of the big contenders to take a step back. But a playing field left untouched by the AAA sphere provides fertile soil for indie developers to provide their unique, innovative spins on the genre, and that's exactly what we've seen from them. Welcome to Zero Deaths. Here are 10 of our favorite indie rhythm games. Number 1. Beat Saber VR. Making waves across the entire gaming market and being a huge proponent to get players into VR gaming, Beat Saber needs no real introduction. Strap yourself into VR and wave your hand sabers around to slice up colored squares that float towards you in rapid-fire beats. As with many things in VR, it sounds and looks a little stupid, but then you try it and you finally understand its magic. There's really not much to say about Beat Saber. This is the quintessential modern rhythm game, and it just so happens it's also, at least originally, an indie title. Many people have also used its arm-flailing, dodging, and ducking gameplay as a method for weight loss and fitness, which has been especially helpful for many during COVID-19 lockdown periods. The game itself may be limited to a bag full of EDM, which obviously isn't to everyone's taste. But with a fantastic number of mods and a huge beat mapping community, chances are you'll be able to play some of your favorite songs on there. And if not, map them yourself and add it to the community pool. Number 2. Pistol Whip VR. Seeing as we're in a different type of reality, we may as well cover our second VR title on this list. This one's a little different, taking the guise of an arcade on-rail shooter featuring a pumping soundtrack. Pistol Whip sees you shooting a bunch of faceless bodies who are firing back at you, and rewards you for timing your shots with the rhythms of its score. Think somewhere between the legendary VR shooter Superhot VR and Beat Saber. Of course, shooting all these pixel-based bodies over and over for seemingly no reason does bring up some ideological questions, but when we're here for rhythm, are we really here to think about the why? Number 3. Thumper. This experimental rhythm game first emerged in 2015, finding at least one new release every year since throwing it on almost every platform from mobile, consoles, handheld devices, VR, and Google Stadia. Developed by a two-man team under the name Drool, consisting of programmer Brian Gibson and Lightning Bolt bassist Brian Gibson, who managed the music and artwork for the game. Such a singular focus from a tight-knit team results in an incredibly high-speed trip through an industrial sci-fi setting, held together by incredible rhythms and sound design. It also takes on the exciting feature of linking the time signatures of each level to their level number, racking from a simple 1-2 through to a more complex 9-8. Thumper's void-like setting is the definition of rhythm game trance, with a complete backdrop of bizarre cosmic imagery which is an entire draw in and of itself. Number 4. AUDIOSURF. A little older than the above games, AUDIOSURF was released in 2008 and received a sequel in 2013. Like Thumper, it turns the trance factor up to 11, providing unique environments filled with popping colors that burst alongside the beats. Interestingly, the music for AUDIOSURF is chosen from the user's own library, and the rhythms are generated to suit these songs. This format, obviously, provides almost limitless levels to master, but when the action moves from simply changing lanes to smash headfirst into the correct colored blocks to introducing a ton of obstacles and other vehicles, things really do get interesting. Definitely don't let its age turn you away. This is a rhythm game gem from solo developer Dylan Fitterer, released at the very peak of rhythm game popularity. Number 5. Rhythm Doctor. One of those gems hidden in the annals of itch.io, Rhythm Doctor was developed by Winston Lee and Hafiz Osman, and netted them the award for the Student Showcase at IGF 2014. This game's had a long history since then, with a full version supposedly coming out on Steam later this year. Again, with a unique twist that you can find only really in indie games. Rhythm Doctor touts itself as the hardest one-button rhythm game you will ever play. This is, of course, pretty quirky and sounds like it'll be a disaster. But as a doctor equipped with a defibrillator, it's your responsibility to keep your patients alive, stunning them on each 7th heartbeat. But Rhythm Doctor takes this all into its stride. It's not simply a count-to-7 simulator. You deal with patients who have arrhythmias, who skip beats and then multiple patients at the same time. Not to mention you have to nail those rhythms. with penalties for being slightly offbeat. So, needless to say, it's much more complex than a one-button rhythm game sounds. And by being so focused on this single mechanic, the developers really nailed keeping it interesting. Plus, it's literally free on itch.io in its current state, so go check it out. And if you love it, join us in anticipating the full release. Number 6. Super Hexagon. The music in many of these games is truly hypnotic, but you need only look at Super Hexagon to see that it's one which will have your eyes hypnotized on its spinning six-sided shapes. In contrast to the objective of many of these games, Super Hexagon sees you dodging in rhythm. The controls are super simple. You pivot around the vertices of the shape with 2 buttons, trying to survive. The pace progresses every second longer you last, with the walls flying in faster and the sound pumping faster. It is kind of punishing, but like with Hotline Miami, you simply hit one button and you're right back in the action. But each time you restart, the level will change, keeping it all fresh and forcing you to keep improving, failing, improving, and failing. And then when you hit over 60 seconds to unlock the next game mode, it feels like a great achievement. It's definitely a classic, and developed by Terry Kavanagh over 12 hours for a game jam way back in 2012. It's a cult one at that. Number 7. Just Shapes and Beats. Berserk Studios' sleeper hit Just Shapes and Beats brings back the side of classic multiplayer rhythm fun with multiplayer for up to 4 players, each of whom control a small shape attempting to survive a variety of enemy attacks by dodging. These attacks take the form of some pretty classic bullet hell action, with geometric shapes flying, spawning, and jutting around the screen attempting to catch you out. By focusing on survival and rhythm through dodging instead of hitting, it provides some pretty fun thrills when going at it with 3 friends. Not to mention the fact it has a cute little narrative to tie it all together. Number 8. DEEMO REBORN. Hailing from Taiwan, developed by Rayark, DEEMO was originally found on iOS and Android before being ported to the PlayStation Vita and Switch, followed by an entire 3D remake of the game, Reborn, compatible with PlayStation VR, dropping in 2019. The narrative here, bizarre for a rhythm title, is pretty important. In short, a girl named Alice falls through a trapdoor in the sky and finds herself in a land home to DEEMO, a pianist who plays music to grow a special tree sapling. This sapling is the way Alice hopes to find her way out of this mysterious world and return home. You'll find yourself exploring DEEMO's domain and, most importantly, playing the keys with notes approaching somewhat similar to classic rhythm formats. It's pretty special for a rhythm game, given it provides a whole fleshed-out world and narrative. And with a sequel on top of the potential for an animated film, there's plenty more of DEEMO to look forward to. Number 9. SAYONARA Wild Hearts. Okay, if we're sick of hitting and dodging abstract shapes, SAYONARA Wild Hearts presents the remedy for this. Often considered more as a pop album game than a traditional music rhythm game, it's a pretty unique gem developed by Swedish developer Simogo and published by the prime indie publisher Annapurna Interactive. With impressive seamless animations that dazzle as much as they suggest a ton of abstract ethereal themes, you move your heroine left and right, collecting hearts as you traverse countless environments and modes of transport, riding motorcycles, longboards, running, and floating on playing cards. The endless setting and movement changes always delivers a rush, which is extremely valuable as this isn't the type of rhythm game that's punishingly complex. Its gameplay is in fact rather forgiving, but this really depends on what draws you to rhythm games. If you're wanting a visual and audio feast which speeds its way through an interesting little narrative. Many would argue it's not quite a rhythm game, but in our eyes, it can't fit anywhere else. Number 10. CRYPT of the NECRODANCER. If SAYONARA Wild Hearts' forgiving experience feels a little too forgiving, maybe a roguelike rhythm game is more your kind of thing. From brace yourself games, you certainly do need to brace yourself to fight, loot, and dodge your way through a dungeon to the beat in an attempt to fight the boss before the song comes to a close. In CRYPT of the NECRODANCER, time is against you in 2 ways. You must find the exit before the song ends, otherwise you're booted from the dungeon, and you can only complete actions on the beat. Not only this, but if you keep moving each and every beat, you get all-important multipliers, netting you more coins in the process. This turns a pretty mediocre dungeon crawler setup into a 4-button bump with huge momentum, keeping you collecting, looting, fighting, and unlocking new paths so you don't fall behind. Of course, as you get further into the dungeons, The music becomes faster and faster, making your enchanting dances across the dungeon amp up in difficulty and tension the longer you survive. And don't forget, as a roguelike, if you die, you'll be sent back to the start to dance your way through all the procedurally generated dungeons once again. But trust us, making those dance hundreds of times is where the thrills lie. With Nintendo teaming up with the developers to develop the crossover title Cadence of Hyrule, we don't have to tell you this game is good. If it's pulled into the Legend of Zelda world, it's definitely got that flair, charm, and unbridled fun which Nintendo endlessly strives towards. These last two games have shown us how far rhythm games can stray from the classic 2008 instrument simulation games. And as always, it's the indie developers who have brought us all this wonderful innovation and nuanced genre matchings. That said, there are tons of indie rhythm games out there, and we had to leave a bunch off this list. What are some of your favorite beat-bopping indies? Let us know. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications so you'll never miss a new video.